Before I begin today's video, I got to ask you one quick question. Do you oppose any legislation or action to defund the police like I do? If so, please sign the Heritage Action Police Pledge petition through the link in the description box below. Yes, this is an ad, but you only get ads straight from me that I believe in. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the super woke NFL National Football League opening day, which was Thursday, September the 10th, 2020, just one day before Friday, September 11th. Terrible timing, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. There's a whole lot to quote unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say, but we got to start with this woke poem from the Miami Dolphins first. In this poem that we're going to see in just a moment, they were describing the whole situation about what's happening in the country, all the racial injustice, and why they're going to stand or why they're not going to stand. It was really a big mess. But we got to see it because that so-called poem encapsulates all of what's happening right now in woke sports culture. After we get done watching that, I'll talk about what they said in the poem. Then I'll talk about the opening day a little bit more and the general issue of wokeness surrounding sports. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents, my deep detailed analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Is it authentic? That's the mystery.
Or is it just another symbolic victory?
Now there's 2 anthems. Do we kneel? Do we stand?
If we could just right our wrongs, we wouldn't need 2 songs.
We don't need another publicity parade.
So we'll just stay inside.
Until it's time to play the game.
Whatever happened to the funds that were promised? All of a sudden we got a collapsed pocket?
The bottom line should not be the net profit.
You can't open your heart when it's controlled by your wallet.
Decals and patches.
Fireworks and trumpets?
We're not puppets.
Don't publicize false budgets.
Ask the pundits and we shouldn't have a say.
If you speak up for change, then I'll shut up and play.
If we remain silent, that would just be selfish.
Since they don't have a voice, we're speaking up for the helpless.
It's not enough to act like you care for the troops.
Millions for pregame patriotism. You get paid to salute.
Lift every voice and sing.
It's just a way to save face.
Lose the mask and stop hiding the real game face.
So if my dad was a soldier, but the cops killed my brother, do I stand for one anthem and then kneel for the other?
This attempt to unify only creates more divide.
So we'll skip this song and dance.
And as a team, we'll stay inside.
We need changed hearts, not just a response to pressure.
Enough. No more fluff and empty gestures.
We need owners with influence and pockets bigger than ours.
To call up officials.
And flex political power.
When education is not determined by where we reside.
And we have the means to purchase what the doctor prescribed.
And you fight for prison reform and innocent lives.
And you repair the communities that were tossed to the side.
And you admit you gained from it and you swallowed your pride.
And when greed is not the compass, but love is the guide.
And when the courts don't punish skin color, but punish the crime.
Until then, we'll just skip the long production and stay inside.
For centuries, we've been trying to make you aware.
Either you're in denial or just simply don't really care.
It's not a black-white thing.
Or a left-right thing.
Let's clean the whole bird.
And stop arguing about which wing.
Before the media starts wondering and guessing, they just answered all your questions. We'll just stay inside.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, I don't really know where to begin. The elephant in the room for me is the fact that these guys are kind of like nobodies. I don't recognize anybody out there. Now, granted, just full disclosure, I've not watched as much football lately, even before all the stuff with the virus and George Floyd. Even before all that, I kind of stopped watching it or reduced watching it because of the whole Colin Kaepernick thing and how the league has become watered down. You got all these rules because of all the injuries and concussions. It's kind of becoming a sport. It's just not really the same as what it was when I was growing up. When I was a Cowboys fan, or early on when I was a Vikings fan, when I got to be like high school, got a little bit older, and they drafted Randy Moss, who was from my birthplace of Rand, West Virginia. So it's not the same for me anymore. And this year is kind of driving me over the edge. But I did not recognize anybody in that clip. So my immediate thought is, okay, do we have a little bit of that, what they call it, helmet syndrome, where these guys in the NFL have their helmet on all the time. You don't recognize them if they don't tell you their full name, first and last name, and their actual number on the back of their jersey. You would not know who they are at all. It could be a little bit of that, trying to get some attention outside of their uniform and their helmet, first. Second, what are they even really talking about? This is kind of an empty poem, and I didn't realize what it was at first. I thought it was just these guys talking like a documentary or something like that. And then I realized there was some words that were rhyming. I'm like, really? Am I hearing a rap song right now? Are these guys really performing? Is this slam poetry? Like covert slam poetry? Is that what's happening right now? And that's kind of what it was, because they were rhyming. They had bars and hooks. And if you don't know what that is, you get the bars, your little lines, and then a hook. That's a little part. That's a chorus. They had bars and hooks. I'm like, really? I mean, come on. This is just so silly. And what they were saying as far as the subject matter, I just wasn't really feeling at all. Okay, they're talking about, the tried and true. Oh, it's the same bird, two wings of the same bird. I hear that so much. When we're talking about left wing and right wing, there are some really big differences between the political parties, between the ideology of left and right. Okay, really big differences. I mean, I think we saw that with the Netflix movie Cuties, and how the left were really praising it, saying it was great and it was moving, all this and that. And then the right talking about, we need to get the people that made this movie happen up under the penitentiary, Gitmo, Big Rocks, Little Rocks. It's a big difference. So this whole thing about, it's just a dirty bird, that's silly. But they did have one good point when they spoke about, do I kneel for one and stand for the other? I feel like that was already set up when they had the two national anthems. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, during week 1 of the NFL season, this season, they're going to play the so-called Black national anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, I think before the actual national anthem. All right. So I predicted that some guys would kneel for the normal national anthem, but stand for the Black national anthem. And I think I did see that. I think the Chiefs, when they went out there, they didn't do what the Texans did, which was go back in the locker room. I almost forgot about that. So the first game, that was on Thursday, it was the Texans versus the Chiefs. I think it was at Arrowhead in Kansas City, which had 17,000 people in attendance. That was not capacity, obviously, but 17,000 people. So you can go watch a football game with 17,000, but you can't go vote. Shout out to Derek Gradenigo for that little nugget right there. I didn't even think about that until he said it. But it does make sense, but I digress. The whole point is that they were out there, one of the first games, and there was some kind of display of unity during this elongated pregame. It was way too much. You got like musical performances, vocal performances from Alicia Keys. You got Chloe and Holly, the girls that were out there singing with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Those are Beyonce's proteges, by the way. So you kind of understand what that's going on. But anyway, they were out there doing that, but they weren't even on the field. They were on the field somewhere else or on a virtual field. So they had this whole big elongated pregame, and then it got to the point where the Chiefs and the Texans are on the field during the unity interlocking. This was before they played a national anthem, either one. Now, when the anthem time came, even for the Black national anthem, the Texans left. They went back in the locker room for both anthems. And the news came out later that they didn't want to show any kind of favor to one song or the other. So they probably wanted to leave after the Black national anthem. You see what I'm saying? But that's probably what happened. But rather than doing that and making that be a political statement, it just left for the whole thing. All right. In the poem, so-called poem, you were hearing guys giving favor to the Black national anthem over the normal national anthem. The guy was like, well, if my dad's a shoulder or my cops cut my brother, do I stand for one, not the other? That's what they're thinking, because that's what they want to do. But they don't want to do it because then it puts a big arrow on the back for the media to attack them, asking them questions, and to become like Colin Kaepernick. And not everybody wants to be that. Some of these guys just want to play football and have that be that. But I'll move right along. The bars and hooks of the poem, I wasn't really feeling too much. The general idea behind it, and then it was just bad timing. The Chiefs, I think one guy kneeled during the regular national anthem, but didn't kneel during the Black national anthem. It was just too much. And then you got all this going on, all this, anti-America sentiment happening a day before 9/11. It's terrible. It's totally terrible. I don't know if anybody played last night. They might have, they might not have, but if they knew, I wouldn't be surprised. It's like no awareness, no sense of context, no understanding of what's happening or what has happened or of anything else. It's just all about self-aggrandizement and self-importance. So I'm just not really a fan. As I close, I'm going to say this. The NFL opening day just wasn't really hitting on 2 cents, in my humble opinion. The poem I wasn't feeling. The bars and hooks were trash. Throw them away. I wonder if Jay-Z wrote that song because, Jay-Z got to deal with the NFL where he's producing some musical stuff. So this could have been part of it right there. I would not be surprised if it was Jay-Z or a Jay-Z protege or somebody he hired to do that for them. All right. I don't think the guys on the Dolphins were, sitting and writing the music and stuff like that. That's probably not what's going on. That probably was written for them and they read it. And then they approved it and said, okay, let's do that. That's probably what's going on. After week 1, they may not do so much wokeness. I hope they don't. Because I'm not really watching football, but people do. Because they want it to be an escape. Oh, that's my last point I got to make. Then I wrap it on up, put a bow on the top. People want an escape from their regular everyday life by watching NFL football. And why is that the wrong thing? Okay, we're dealing with politics all the time. You got trouble in your life. You might get, bills piling up because of the virus. You can't work. It's a lot going on. So rather than dealing with the issues and pressures of life constantly 24/7, give me a little bit of break. Let's watch the football game. But now we got the same thing from real everyday walking life right in front of my face in the football game. So what's the point in watching it? I'm watching this for an escape. I'm watching this to enjoy it, but you're making me sit through some kind of like training seminar about how to be woke and how to be an ally. All right. You got it at your job. You got it out in the world. You got it in your house. If you got kids and all this and that. I want to enjoy the game, to not deal with that. So if I got to deal with that when I'm watching the game, I'll just watch something else or do something else to occupy the void that I'm needing to fill. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Was the poem that I showed you earlier off point, on point? What was it? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about the NFL and other professional sports going woke? You're talking NBA, obviously, Major League Baseball, NFL, NHL, Major League Soccer. How you feel about all these leagues going woke? What are you going to do in the meantime if you're not watching sports? Like I said before, golf and fish. I'm trying to go out there golfing right now and do that rather than watching NFL football. And quite frankly, ever since not watching football, basketball, I really don't miss it. I do other things. I game, I golf, I do something. Some kind of hobby, some kind of pastime that I can do that does not involve politics. I love politics. I eat it, I breathe it, I sleep it. But maybe I want a break from it. Is that so much to ask? And if I can't get a break watching football, then I'll do something else. Simple. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.